Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. Today is Sunday, the 31st and final day of December, as well as the year 2023. It is a special Sunday reflection today because it is Christmas week, and I wanted to try to do this throughout the Christmas season. So this Sunday reflection on this last day of our civil year, it is the seventh day in the octave of Christmas, is the seventh day of Christmas. Not yet through the halfway point, because we will be able to do that between today, midnight, and tomorrow, sometime when we should midway point of our Christmas celebrations, but it's not over yet for us. And again, it is New Year's Eve for our civil society, for our civil world. Our New Year's again happened on December the 3rd, with New Year's Eve being December the 2nd for us. But here we don't ignore the fact that the world moves from 2023 to 2024 sometime this evening, and so we celebrate with the world also today. Coming to you on this Sunday, which is Holy Family Sunday. Always the Sunday that follows Christmas is dedicated to the Holy Family. We're coming to you today from the oldest burial ground within the city of New York. This is the burial ground that was first the burial ground for New Amsterdam, the Dutch colony, that was then superseded by the English colony of New York. And so here we have both Dutch and English graves here in this wonderful old burial ground in Lower Manhattan. Behind me rises Trinity Church. Again, this is the oldest church in the city of New York. There may be a Dutch church here beforehand, but I don't really know where it is. So, but this is Trinity Church. St. Paul's, which is up the way a little bit, was a chapel and it continues to be a chapel of Trinity Church. This church again was founded in 1698. It is this building, though, is the third church building to be built on this site. Various fires destroyed the other ones, and so we have this wonderful, glorious church over here. The cross behind me is the Astor Cross. Again, John Jacob Astor of Titanic fame, with his wife who perished in the Titanic. This is the burial cross for one of their daughters who unfortunately passed in the early 1900s, I think 1907 or something like that. And so they are also the ones who own the property for the Empire State Building. Again, people with lots of money. So it's like, so there's their cross there. In this burial ground on the other side of it, which is not as old as this side, Alexander Hamilton is buried. You remember him from a certain musical. So his grave is over there on that side, but this is the older side of the burial ground over here. With Trinity Church behind us, celebrating today Holy Family Sunday. Do not be misled. Holy does not mean perfect. Holy does not mean without problems or issues or challenges. Sometimes, again, we want the Holy Family to be this perfect family that never argued, never fought, never experienced any trauma or doubt or anything else like that. And yet, that is all a lie, because they would have, because that's part of our human life. If they were not experiencing that, they would not be human. And so we have to always remember that. And we can see it constantly in Scripture. Again, the big thing of leaving Joseph, forgetting him as they're journeying back to Nazareth from some trip to Jerusalem, and they got to go find him in the temple. And we focus in on how wonderful it is to find him in the temple. But again, they lost him to begin with, so what's going on with there? Mary wonders and doubts about him all the time. She comes to get him because she thinks he's crazy, in Mark's gospel. Well, he should be back in the carpentry shop. What's going on? Again, Mary's, still is saying yes to all kinds of things that she truly does not yet understand. And all of this confusion and wonder and doubt that may arise from it. And what about Joseph? Again, we hear him mentioned fleetingly, sometimes in Mark's gospel or John's gospel, as Jesus being the son of Joseph. He is in Matthew's gospel, he is in Mark's gospel, Luke's gospel at the very beginning, but then all of a sudden he disappears, so what is it of this Holy Family? If they are so holy and together and wonderful, why is it that we not hear much about them? And again, we don't really hear much about Mary, and so there's a lot, of holes within this. If this family is supposed to be a model of perfection, shouldn't we hear more about them so that we can be perfect like they are? But that's not what this is about. It isn't about ever being perfect. It perhaps is remembering two things. It is remembering the fact that relationship makes us human. And the more that we have relationships, the more that we build relationships, the more that we nurture and care about them, the more human we become. The second thing, perhaps, is also to remember that if we have relationships, we cannot give up on them. We must never, ever give up on our relationships. As much as they may change and grow and transform, over our lives, the fact that they were a part of our life to some degree has to mean something, to us. And again, it's about those relationships that give life, those relationships that were filled with love, those relationships that offered us hope and a new way of understanding ourselves and who it is that we are becoming as human beings. All of these kinds of things are those marks of what it truly means, to be human and truly means to become the people that God has created us to be. We celebrate, this family of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, although we don't know much about them. We don't really hear much about them as a family, but believing that because God gave them this great grace, to be able to be instruments within God's definitive act of becoming one like us, then God basically through them shows us how important it is to be in relationship and to care for relationships and to build relationships. That is what makes family, not necessarily blood only, but again, there's all those kinds of ways in which families can be built because of the friendships and the bonds and the trust and the unity that we build amongst each other. That is where the Holy Family is a model for us, of not being able to give up, and reverencing the relationships that God gives us, and allowing those relationships to give us life. A continued blessed Christmas, St. Francis and people of God, and a blessed New Year that will dawn tomorrow for us in 2024. May the Lord give you his peace.